Your journey, your speed, your story. Find your pace. Everyone loves to talk about the beginning. Everything's excited, you're super motivated, and then the breakthrough happens. You get the PR, everything that you just worked for all came together. But no one talks about the middle phase. The middle, when you're showing up day by day, hour by hour, putting the work in, maybe the progress is a little slower, maybe the results aren't coming as quickly as you would like them to. That is when most people quit. And it's not because they're incapable, it's because it doesn't feel as rewarding. So let's talk about the middle phase. So what's the middle phase? It's when the effort stays high, but the validation disappears. You're not a beginner anymore. You did your first marathon, you did your first half marathon, you did your first Ironman. All that excitement is gone because you're no longer a beginner. You know what it feels like. You know what it feels like to train. You know what it feels like to get to race day. It's no longer exciting. Firsts for all of us feel really exciting. Being a beginner, being a newbie, all of the things that come with being a first is exciting. It's also a little nerve-wracking, a little anxious. But when you've already done what you're continuing to work at, it doesn't feel as exciting anymore. That validation from all the people around you. Think about if you've done 1 million half marathons. Let's say your parents or your friends, whoever it is that's closest to you, think of them. When they showed up for your first race, they were super excited. Each race you continue to do, maybe they still are presenting that they're excited for you, but it's not the same as it was the first race. And that's completely normal. Another thing that comes with the middle phase is the progression maybe slows down. Maybe you're not seeing all of the crazy results that you were seeing in the beginning. And that is also completely normal. Routine replaces excitement and progress becomes subtle. So what does it feel like? It feels like your runs are becoming repetitive. It feels like you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And maybe you're feeling like you're not getting any better. You're not progressing to where you thought you would be after months, after weeks, after years. Another thing it feels like is it feels like you're doing everything right, but nothing is changing or nothing is different. And it's like you finish a run and instead of celebrating that run, it's like you're already thinking about the next one. That's what it feels like when you're in the middle phase. Maybe you just finished a race, you're recovered, and you are already signed up for another race and you're just getting back into the training. Or maybe you're in the middle phase of a training block. Also, a lot of this can be applied to real life outside of running. We're going to focus on running, but this also could be used in a lot of things in life. If you're in that middle phase of jobs, of relationships. So keep that in mind because maybe you could use this in other parts of your life if you're not a big runner. So why do most people quit here? There's no more big dopamine hit. Doesn't feel like you're actually progressing. And who wants to keep doing something if they don't feel good about it or if they're not seeing new results, if they're not feeling faster, if they're not feeling stronger? Who would want to keep going? I know I wouldn't. Doesn't matter though, because when you're in this middle phase, this is actually going to progress you a lot farther and a lot faster than if you were to quit. The people that quit in the middle phase and they constantly have to start and stop their trainings or whatever it is that they're doing, they're the ones that are going to actually see less results in the long term. It's the people that stay and fight through the annoying, uncomfortable, unmotivational middle phase. They are the ones that are going to see the most results in the long haul. I heard this quote once where it said, boring is when the results are built. I think because of the world we live in right now, all these new races are popping up. All these new group fitness classes are popping up. Everything is new. When in reality, repetitions is what's going to actually get you better. If you think, or if you were to actually step foot in an elite athlete's program, they do repetitive workouts, repetitive runs. Think about even just running outside of the elites. The only way to get better at running is to keep running. There's obviously a lot of other things that make you better when it comes to running, but if you don't continue to run, you're not going to get better at running. So why are we so scared of repeating things, repetitiveness. Is it because it doesn't excite us? Maybe. Is it because it's boring? Probably. Is it because people lack discipline and they're always constantly looking for outside external motivation? Probably. You got to be disciplined to stay through and fight through the middle phases. Let's talk about a middle phase that I went through in the last couple of years. So 2024, I did maybe 3 marathons and a half Ironman. That was a crazy year. That was some high volume year. I felt like I was in a middle phase the entire year. Marathon after marathon, I felt like I was in a middle phase during every single part of that training block. How did I get out of that? I didn't really know how to do that, to be honest. But when I got into the Boston Marathon, not because I qualified, I got a media bib. I wanted to take the Boston Marathon a little different. I wanted to pay my respects to the course. It's a tough course. The history behind the Boston Marathon, I didn't want to disrespect it. I didn't want to just show up and do what I had been doing previously. So I changed my marathon training program and my mindset. I really dove into long run workouts. If you don't know what that is, you basically, instead of just doing a long run at a consistent pace, you break it up and you do, it can look a multitude of different ways, but let's just say, for example, it's you do 4 miles easy, 4 miles hard, and repeat that. So you break it up. So I started incorporating long run workouts, more speed workouts. I was challenging myself so much more. That completely took me out of the middle phase, that rut, if you will, where it was just the constant, boring training blocks. I changed my mindset and I changed my training program, and that made me feel so much better, so much more confident. It felt like I was a newbie again. Even though I had already done 5 marathons at that point, I felt like a brand new marathon runner just by making a small tweak to what I was already doing. So if you're feeling like you're in a rut or you're feeling like you're in this middle phase, you're not motivated to keep going, but maybe you still are going, hopefully, change some things up. Change your mindset, change your program, change your route. There's tons of things that you can do. But whatever you do, don't quit. You're not going to get where you want to go if you quit. Road trip. If you were going somewhere in a car and you stopped halfway, you're never going to get to your destination. So why would you stop? In this phase is when discipline is built. Discipline, I talk about this all the time. Discipline is greater than motivation. You will always ebb and flow motivation. Motivation is external. Motivation is, I signed up for a race, I'm going to train for it for 16 weeks. And then after that 16 weeks, you're done. Summer's coming, I want to look good in a bathing suit. Okay, summer's here, you look good in a bathing suit, now what? You're always going to lose motivation, but discipline is what's going to keep you going longer. I've talked about it on a whole other episode. So if you need more motivation on how to be disciplined, go listen to a previous episode that I recorded. I can't even remember which one it is, but I think it says it in the title. Discipline and working through the middle phase, that's when people separate themselves from other people. The middle phase is when the results are being built, you just might not see them yet. And if you stick it out and you work harder and you don't quit, well, then you're different than the ones that do quit. How do you stay consistent? Well, not every run needs to feel amazing, and it's not going to. 9 out of 10 runs are probably going to feel like absolute shit. But we are always chasing that good run because they do exist. So you go for a run on Monday, not great. You go for a run on Wednesday, not great. You go for a run on Friday, not great. You go for a run on Saturday. I had the time of my life. Rinse and repeat. We are always chasing for the good runs, but you have to go through the bad ones in order to get there. So you have to stay consistent. Focus on identity over outcome. I'm somebody that shows up. I show up when I don't want to. I show up when I'm tired. I show up when I'm not motivated. I show up on vacation. Be somebody that shows up. You can also make things slightly more enjoyable. Change up your route, which also for safety, you should be doing that. Change up your music. Maybe listen to a podcast. You can listen to me. Add some friends. Phone a friend if you don't have anyone that will go for a run with you. If you're in the middle phase, your job is to stay disciplined, but that doesn't mean that you need to suffer. Find ways to make things more enjoyable. Oh my gosh. Also, Stop over evaluating. Not every run and workout needs to be analyzed. I am so sick of the toxicness of social media where we feel like we need to explain our runs and our workouts. We had a bad workout and it's like, oh, it was hot out. Wasn't feeling it today. Oh, I didn't get to eat beforehand. Why are we explaining it? You just had a bad run. Who are you explaining it to? The only person that you need to explain your runs and your workouts to is yourself. Don't worry about your Strava posts and explaining why maybe you didn't have a fast. No one cares about your runs more than you do. Stop explaining to other people why your runs maybe didn't hit, why your workout wasn't as fast as you wanted it to. Just focus on yourself. It bothers me because that's where the toxic part of social media comes into play, is we are constantly seeking outside validation. For what? We don't need other people to tell us that we're doing a damn good job. Look in the mirror and tell yourself that you are a badass, that you are doing it for yourself, that you could do anything that you put your mind to, that you are strong, you are capable, you are beautiful. You don't need to explain it to anybody else. You sure as hell don't have to explain it to anyone on social media. I might sound a little hypocritical there because I do obviously post all my runs. And I will say this, I used to do that years ago. I used to, because I am on social media and I'm an influencer and I'm a content creator and all these eyes are on me, I felt like I had to do that. So when I'm speaking to you guys like this, I want you to know that I had to do a lot of internal work to get to this point. And I am so glad that I've gotten to this point because holy hell, we don't need to explain ourselves to anybody. The only person you need to explain yourself to is yourself, because at the end of the day, all you have is yourself. So if you're not happy with what you're doing for you, that's fine. We can work on that. But if you're not happy with what you're doing because of what other people might think, reel it in, babe. Reel it in. Absolutely not. The only person you need to be worried about is yourself. So let's stop over explaining why our workouts might not have been the way we wanted to because of what other people might think. And also, people are going to judge whether you ran a fast time or a slow time. Doesn't matter. They're going to judge you regardless. But more times than not, they're not judging. And if they are, who cares? Let them. Let's talk about a little bit of a mindset shift here. I kind of touched on this a little bit. If it feels repetitive, that probably means it's working. Again, repeating things gets you results. Let's say you did a squat on a Monday and then you never do a squat again. Are you going to get better at squats if you stop doing them? No. Repetitive. You have to repeat things to get better at them. So stop thinking that repetitiveness is going to not get you results. It's going to be boring, but it's going to get you the results. Also, progress isn't always visible and consistency is the real win. Back to elite athletes. Do you think that they see progress every single workout? No. But do they show up for every single workout? Yes, because consistency and repetitiveness is going to get you the results. This is my favorite part of the podcast because this is when I get to answer y'all's questions. If you don't know, we have a website, findyourpacepodcast.com. You can enter questions whenever you want. You can also tell me who you want me to interview next. So I'm going to answer some of those questions. Okay. What do you do when you feel like you're putting in the effort, but nothing is changing? Are you actually putting in the effort? Like truly. You really have to make sure that you're looking inside. You're being honest with yourself here. Are you actually putting in the effort? Are you working harder? Also, are your hard days hard and your easy days easy? If not, that also could be a big factor here. People take their easy days way too hard. And easy could look different every single time you have an easy day. Hard could also look hard every single time you have a hard day. But if you feel like you're putting in the effort and not seeing results, let's say, yes, my hard days feel hard, my easy days feel easy. Are you doing the same thing? Like I said earlier, I did multiple marathons in a year. My easy days felt easy, my hard days felt hard. But then I changed things. I started adding in new workouts, new runs, new things like that. So maybe just take a step back. look at what you're doing from an outside, unbiased perspective. Are you actually doing all the things that you can do? Do you have a coach, or are you only using online platforms? And I'm not saying that online platforms are bad. I like them. But if you're plateauing and you're not seeing the results and you're doing everything that you can, but maybe you haven't asked a professional, maybe it's time to ask a professional. How do you stay motivated when it feels repetitive? Discipline, baby. You gotta be disciplined. Why are we so scared of repetitiveness? The only way to see results is to do something over and over and over again. If you find a hobby, let's say you get into knitting, are you gonna get good at knitting if you stop knitting? No. You practice over and over and over and over again. Stop being scared of repetitiveness. Did you ever question if what you're doing is even working? Oh my God, all the time. All the time. Not only do I ask that, I ask myself why I'm even doing this in the first place. If you're doing it right, you're always going to wonder if this is actually working. I feel like that's just human nature. Is it normal to feel bored with running even if you love it? Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. If you feel bored, if you feel like your runs all feel the same, like I said earlier, change up your routes, new playlists, maybe a podcast, run with friends, phone a friend, maybe find somewhere that you want to run. Maybe there's a bakery that you've been wanting to try, or a coffee shop that you want to try, and then you run to that coffee shop instead. There's so many things that you could do to make your runs more enjoyable. You just have to do it. I know we can all get comfortable and it's like, but that coffee shop is like, 5 miles away. So if I run there, my run's 5 miles and I have to figure out a way home. So instead I'll just go 2.5 out, 2.5 home. That's when it's like, no, just do it. You'll feel so much happier if you run to that damn coffee shop and get that new matcha or that new latte, whatever it is that you want. Just do it. We have to make running enjoyable. We get to run, and not every run needs to feel awful and boring and whatever. How do you stay consistent when you're not improving as fast as you want? You have to remember what this whole podcast is about is the phase that you're in where it doesn't feel like anything is actually changing or working. That's when it's actually working. Results do not happen overnight. They happen when they're the most boring, the most repetitive. That's when the results are going to happen. So when you see people after running for years, you know what? Let's bring this. I talk about this often. I see a majority of athletes in their 30s, 40s, 50s. That's when they're peaking. And you want to know why? Because it's a compound of year after year, decade after decade of them doing repetitiveness. They're running weekly, monthly, they're cycling, they're swimming, they're lifting, they're doing all of the things. And so after, maybe they start in their 20s or their 30s. So in their 40s, they're peaking. And I can't even tell you how many races I do. And there's people that are twice my age blowing past me. Why? Because they've compounded years and years of the middle phase. They never quit when it gets boring, when it gets tough, when it gets repetitive. That's when the results happen. So maybe you're new into running, you're just getting into it and you're like, well, I'm not seeing the results after a year. Okay. Exactly. Because it takes grit. It takes discipline to get results. Results don't happen in 16 weeks. I mean, they can. But in reality, most people don't see the results they want in 16 weeks, okay? It takes years. So you got to stay with it. Find the grit, find the discipline. Do you ever feel like you've lost the excitement that you had at the beginning? Yes. I say this also often. Why do you think people that do marathons, why do you think when people start with a 5K, they do a 10K, and then they do a half marathon? And then they do a marathon, and then they get into ultras, and then they get into triathlons, then they do Ironmans, and then they start. Why do you think people do that? Because we are constantly chasing firsts. We are constantly chasing new highs. So yes, if you're only doing 5Ks or you're only doing marathons, for example, myself last year, I was so over marathon distances that I literally threw myself into 100K, even though I DNF'd. I ended up doing a 50K. But I threw myself into trail and I threw myself into the ultra world because I was so sick of the repetitive boringness, but I wanted to keep running. So I was chasing a new high. I still feel like I'm a beginner and a newbie into the trail and running sport, which is really exciting. So I'm hoping that that'll stay a little bit longer, but eventually it's not going to feel as exciting. That's going to happen. You want to know what? I'm not going to stop. I might do something more. I might do a longer race. Like I might do another 50K this year. Maybe next year I'll do the 100K. Maybe the following year I'll do a 100-miler. Who knows? Yes, it's going to feel like it's not as exciting, and that's normal. Does that mean that you need to do a bigger or a different rate? No. You could still find joy and excitement in the same repetitive things. You just have to figure out what's going to make you feel that way. How do you not let doubt take over when things feel slow? I would say I have a good perspective on this now just because of how many years I have been doing sports. You know, if I even went back 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't have a better answer. But I think because I've been doing it so long and I know how it feels to feel doubt, to feel like you're not seeing progress. So you just have to know that if you continue to put the work in, the results will happen. I think it's really just as simple as that. It's normal to doubt, but just don't quit. So when that voice in the back of your head is like, why am I doing this? Am I even seeing the results? Is this going to get me where I want to go? It will. It will. If you need to, put some motivational sticky notes on your mirror to look at every single day. Look at every morning before you go out for your run. Even if this run feels bad, it's still one step closer to what you want. Most times during races, I end up saying one foot in front of the other. And I say it over and over and over and over again. And as long as I keep putting one foot in front of the other, I'm getting closer and closer to that finish line. It's the same thing when it comes to training. One workout, one run, one more workout, one more run, and I just keep doing it. It's one foot in front of the other. That's going to get you to the results. So even when you're doubting yourself, just don't quit. How do you know if you're actually stuck or you're just in a normal plateau? I would say you're in a normal plateau if you've made changes and adjustments to your workout routine. Like you incorporated harder workouts, you're lifting heavier weights, and then you're hitting that plateau. If you're feeling stuck, maybe that's because you haven't tried anything new. Maybe you haven't increased your weights at the gym. Maybe you haven't, done any speed workouts, or maybe your speed workouts, you're being a little too easy on yourself and you're not, going as hard as you probably could. So I would say stuck versus plateau. Stuck is maybe you're not actually trying anything new and incorporating more things, where plateau is you are trying all of these new things and you are working out harder or whatever, but you're still hitting that plateau. Either way, in both of those scenarios, I would say consult a professional, running coach, personal trainer. Maybe that's when either way, you're hitting a plateau or you feel stuck. That's when you phone a friend. That's when you call for help. Stuck mentally, physically, maybe you need to be incorporating more things. Plateau, you've incorporated new things and harder things and easier things, and you're still not seeing results. Either way, though, I would say definitely consult a professional. Most people never get what they want, and it's not because they're incapable. It's because they quit. So if you're in a middle phase right now, what I'm calling the middle phase, this is not the time to quit. This is the time to use the tools in the toolbox to get you to where you want to be, wherever that is. If you're in between training blocks, maybe you're in a training block and you're showing up day by day, week by week, and you're like, is this worth it? This isn't as exciting. I'm not feeling super validated. Why am I doing this? All of those thoughts are exactly what everyone feels. What's going to make you different than anyone else is sticking through it, fighting against it, stay disciplined, find the grit, and stick it out. The difference between you and a quitter is you don't quit. Don't quit. If you want to be a runner long-term, a triathlete long-term, any sport that you're doing, the only way to get better is to fight through the middle phase. If there's anyone that's listening to this right now and they feel like they're in the middle phase, I am right there with you. I have been battling an Achilles, calf, ankle issue for the past 4 months. And what's funny about this is the least amount of activity that I've done. I have not done a single race this year. The last 3 years, I've done 10 plus races a year. I have no idea where this injury thing came from. But no matter what, I'm still showing up, even though I don't have a race on the calendar. I'm still showing up. I'm doing what I can. I'm doing what my body is capable in this moment while dealing with this, while healing. Because I know when I get into a training block, I'm going to be so much better off than if I were to just quit and do nothing through this middle phase. I'm with you. I feel you. I hear you. I see you. You are strong. You are capable. You are beautiful. You are smart. You will get through it. And this isn't the only time that you're going to go through this middle phase. I've gone through it 100 times. That's exaggerating, but I've gone through it a lot. What's going to separate you from anyone else is that you're not going to quit. You're going to push through. You're going to do run by run, workout by workout. You're going to stop doubting yourself. You're going to stop doubting your abilities. You're going to stop doubting what you're doing. This all has a purpose, and it's only going to make you stronger and better. That's it for me today. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer on a podcast, or you have a guest in mind that you would like me to interview, please go to www.findyourpacepodcast.com. Make sure you enter your questions and your guest requests there, and I will do my best to answer every single question and get every guest on that I can. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me today. I really, really enjoy podcasting. I really enjoy getting to talk to you guys in longer form. So I hope that you enjoy this as well. If you're new to me, welcome to the chaos. And just know what you see is what you get. I am the same person on camera and in real life. And you know what? I'm going to pat myself on the back because I pride myself in being the same person on camera and off camera. So I'm my biggest supporter and celebrator. That's it for me. Love you guys. See you next time. My fly has been down this whole time. It's okay. I'm not refilming that. Y'all, my fly was down the whole time. It only matters if you're watching this.